I'm TaVona Denise, and this is Breaking Protocol. And just sharing a few things that are on my mind and different ways of thinking about things. And hopefully it helps you in your life and your business, because what an interesting time to be alive. I don't think in a million years would have thought that just last weekend I would have been dancing in my living room to Instagram with Debbie Allen and then jamming in the evening with D Nice, just having the ultimate party experience by myself with no hurting heels on, no tight, uncomfortable clothes on. And when I'm ready to just dip out. And that's what is available to us. And it's what an interesting and exciting time to be alive. Of course, we have the other things going on, and it can be scary and it can be uncertain. But I wanted to talk a little bit to you today about pivoting with purpose, right? Because we have D Nice, who like a week ago, I was looking at his Instagram following and he had maybe 370,000 people. And yesterday, I think it was, I looked and it was 1.8 million people. 1.8 million people, just because he decided that he loves to DJ. We can't gather together, but there was another method. There was Instagram TV, IGTV, and people jumped in and they appreciated that value that he was putting out there in the world for free. And they told their friends and they told their friends. And then some news articles, media picked it up. And then Michelle Obama is like, hey, let's do something together to bring the people out to register to vote. I mean, what an amazing time to be alive, right? And we're talking about this chaos and crisis and confusion and uncertainty that we find ourselves in, to the thing that shall not be named, right? I don't want to continue to give power to it. Thank you, Amelia, for reminding us of the power of our words. Amelia Roberts in her talk yesterday. But a couple of weeks ago, I was set to speak in person at the PT BizCon 2020 live event. And I so applaud Aaron LeBauer, who is the Cash PT, and he was the organizer of the event, for saying, okay, all gatherings are banned, shut down. How do we regroup? How do we pivot? And I watched this man pivot on purpose, take his event from a live in-person event to a live streamed event, 2 days, Friday and Saturday, like so much energy, so much information, so much love within the group. And I was like, now that's how you do things, right? He pivoted on purpose, right? He could have said, well, we'll put it off till later. I'll turn around and give people refunds. Like, he could have done all of those things, but he said, no problem. I'll just pivot. And that's what we have to be able to do as business owners. And one speaker in particular stood out for a specific thing that he talked about in terms of pivot, don't panic. And I think that's very important for us to remember these days, that we have the opportunity at any moment in time to pivot. And we also have the opportunity to panic, and we get to decide what we want to do. Because if we are really going to take radical responsibility for our lives, for the results that we create in our lives and our business, it's going to be really important for you and I to be agile, to be flexible, to be resilient as a business owner. Aaron, in that moment, pivoted on purpose. Now, I want to contrast that a little bit with my friend Rob Vinan, who runs the telehealth PT group on Facebook. And I've watched this man be consistent for at least 1.5 years, 2 years that I've known of him in his group, telling people about telehealth and how we can do things. And over the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've literally seen him gain 4,000 or 5,000 followers in that group. I don't even know how many people is that per hour? I have no idea, but that is a lot. And some people are like, oh, look, he got lucky. Or, oh, look, D Nice got lucky. But those people were being consistent. And then time and opportunity presented itself. It's kind of like what Oprah says, luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet. I'm like, wow, how incredibly amazing and probably stressful to be trying to let all of those people in. But it also brought me to this space of, and I've been telling you that I felt split over the last few weeks of being in this space where this is really business as usual for me. I've been in the online space for a long time. I've been hosting virtual happy hours and virtual book clubs and virtual meetups for a long time before all of this happened. And seeing now and seeing how hard, especially Rob worked, because I got to see that firsthand. I'm only just now knowing about D-Nice, but seeing Rob work so hard in this group, and now all of a sudden people are scrambling and clamoring to get into the group and to find out what he knows is interesting, right? Because people thought of it, telehealth I'm talking about right now, as a luxury before. And now some of them are finding that it's a necessity if they want to keep their doors open and be able to serve their patients. If they are an employee and they've been furloughed or let off and they want let go and they want to have another way of making income using their skills as a physical therapist, occupational therapist, speech therapist, or what have you, doctor, whatever, right? And we're talking about being agile and resilient and pivoting, not panicking, right? But I also want to talk about how do you pivot not only on purpose, but with purpose, right? Because the rug has been snatched from many of us, out from many of us. The way we used to work, the way we used to think about things, what we do, how we do it, what we can do, what's possible. And that has completely been taken away in some regards and very much so challenged in other areas. So we have to come up with new ways of doing things. We have to come up with new ways of thinking about things. And we're all being forced to pivot. And it's usually better to do it of our own accord, but here we are. Right? And while it can be normal to panic and start doing a bunch of things just because we see other people doing them, and that is also a choice, right? We have this space where everybody, I say everybody, but we know whenever you say everybody, always, none, nobody, that kind of thing, it's not true. But it seems like everybody is running to telehealth. It seems like everybody is doing X, Y, Z. And so our challenge as we look at this is to stop and think, okay, like Oprah says, what's my intention here? We can choose to run and do it because we see other people doing it, but we really have a space and opportunity right now to ask ourselves, like, am I doing this to make a quick buck? Right? Because at some point in time, what we're going through now is going to be over. We're going to figure out how to get through this and handle it and deal with it. Like they say, this too shall pass. And what we're doing right now will set us up for the future. So we have to stop and ask ourselves, are we doing something right now to make a quick buck? Are we doing it to serve our patients? Are we doing it because we've always wanted to try this anyway, and we didn't think we knew enough? We didn't think people would take us up on the offer, like whatever our reasons were? Or are we doing this because this is the closest thing to what I already know how to do, even though I wasn't happy treating patients anymore before all of this? So that's something to think about, right? Because I have seen some of even my own clients come through the program, come through the process of developing a business that feels amazing to them, that feels so good, that is aligned in what they always wanted to do, but didn't think they could in terms of wellness, coaching, that kind of thing. And then to see this shiny new object, not new really, but this shiny object of telehealth and say, oh, maybe I should go over here and learn how to do this thing because it's the closest thing to physical therapy and I already know how to do that. And that's perfectly fine. But I would say, like one of my mentors, Brooke Castillo, says, whenever you do something, make sure you like your reason, right? Asking yourself those questions. Am I doing this because I'm afraid? Am I doing this because I don't feel like I'm good enough or I don't know enough, right? And just really thinking about, where is that coming from? Can you pivot with purpose? Like, are you doing this intentionally? I personally like that. Start with the question of why, right? Why are you doing that? Why are you making the change to whatever it is? I'm not knocking telehealth at all. I love it. I'm thankful for it. I'm so grateful for Rob Vining and the community that I have with them, right? But why are you doing it? Whatever it is, whether it's podcasts, whether it's webinars, whether it's starting a Facebook group, why are you doing that? You were going one direction and you choose to pivot. Why? How does that fit into your overall strategy? Does it align with your ultimate goals, right? Because there are certain things that we can do in the short term, and do they actually help us reach our long-term goals? And then, is this thing that you're considering doing in alignment with who you are, your goals, your people? There are so many options that we have out there for running our business, for marketing our business, for setting, you could research software till you're blue in the face. And I would just say, pick one and get started. We have an opportunity right now to slow down, to think, to really think about what we're doing, to reflect on why we were doing what we were doing, and do we want to continue to do it in the future? These opportunities that now we have time to sit down and think about, and we have time to sit and study, do they align with who we are and our ultimate goal and our personality and our current strengths? Sometimes we can run faster if we choose something that doesn't require as much setup. If we choose something that is closer to the skill set that we currently have. Have you stopped and evaluated those kinds of things when you think about anything that you're choosing to pursue as we're making these pivots? We have the opportunity to design our lives and our businesses on purpose. As I said before, a lot of beliefs are being questioned about how we interact with patients, how we interact with one another, how we make money. And while everything is kind of in disarray and there's no expectations of you right now in terms of how you spend your time, I'd ask you to consider, what do I want to create and pivot with purpose? So if you know that you were meant for more and you've just been kind of going through the motions because you've been afraid, you didn't have time before, or whatever the reason was, but you're tired of playing small, you're tired of playing scared, and you really want some support to create the life and business you want, go to TaVonaDenise.com/momentum. We'll hop on a call. You can tell me your dream, and we can talk about what's really standing in the way and how to get you there. Until next time, friends.